This is Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. Coming up, a lifeline for Aaron Connolly. We have a look at how the boys of Green got on over the weekend, and it was the 40th anniversary dinner dance for Risk London. We take a look back at that. It is Lansdowne Roar. Hello and welcome to another episode of Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast and Conor McAvoy. As always, guys, if you like what you see, you love what you hear, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Otherwise, I'm going to hit Conor. And also, if you could like the video as well, that's quite important. That's what Conor tells us anyway. Like the video. It's good for the algorithm. They like all of that. And of course, if you want opinion, please head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie. We have a team of fantastic writers over there who just want to be discovered. So head over there. Right, lads. How are you doing? Good to see you. Conor, yeah, we got the three of us on here for recording one. Have we done this before? I'm a bit worried, a bit scared.
We were in the last. No, we weren't in the last recording. But all the live shows, yeah.
Yeah, you and I were, Conor. Martin wasn't. Martin. Of course, Martin was actually busy. Martin, you were over at Risk. You were organising the dinner dance, the 40th dinner dance, which just happened last Saturday. And I must say, Conor, I have to give him credit. He organised an absolute blinder. We had lots of dignitaries there. We had myself, of course. We had FAI CEO David Corral and myself. They're just about to, I don't know, take a breath or sing or something in that particular picture. We had Andy Reid. Here he is. First interview today. Bless. I tell you what, he was very patient with me, Andy Reid. My first interview, he just sort of like came out of the door and I was like, oh, Andy, quick word. I didn't even know it took me short at that stage. And of course, we had the wonderful, legendary and gentleman, Tony Galvin. It was lovely speaking to him. I tell you what, I could have spoken to him about Euro 88 all day, Martin. I know you already have done, haven't you?
Yeah, no, look, Dave, thanks for a nice mention of the success of the night. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I had over 200 people there supporting the event. Raised a lot of money for charity as well with our raffle, where the FAI donated a nice signed Ireland shirt. And yeah, we had some great sponsorship supporting it. But yeah, just to have the founding members of the club, Jerry Lappin was there, a man I'd actually never met. So I've obviously taken on the role as chairman the last 5 years, and to meet the founding chairman of the club, whose idea it was to start Risk London, was incredible. And I said to him, it was quite emotional in a sense. I was kind of like, did you think 40 years ago that we would still be all here supporting Ireland and being part of a supporters club that brings so many people together? And it was just amazing meeting so many old friends and things that all kind of united by Irish football. David Corral was great company.
Yeah, nice man.
A little bit, having a chat with him about
nice man,
just where he sees Irish football going. Done a very good speech. They've given us a beautiful award, actually.
I thought you did a lovely speech. Mark, looking at
it's a little award from the FAI. I thought that's really nice. Look.
That was very nice.
Get into camera.
Martin did a lovely speech, actually, Conor. I know you weren't there, and you guys at home. We will put bits of that up, by the way. We've got videos and stuff coming out over the social media. Actually, I do have a snippet of your speech, Martin, and I thought this is absolutely my favourite bit here.
Hands off that tournament.
I knew you'd show that. Jesus, that was right towards the end of it. I've done so well.
And was it?
I
was happy through it.
What was so? It wasn't. I had to edit my speech as well, because we did, as we said, have Andy Reid there, who was brilliant, and he said I'd like to say a few words because I've got to go. Like he was on 5 Live during the day, and he was working the next morning, and he says, look, I'm really sorry I've got to go, but I'd like to say a few words, because he when he was saying he lived in London, he used to go to the Irish Centre a lot because there's a big community kind of outlet for Irish people and different bands he would go and see. So I had to kind of change my speech a little bit to kind of get my little, especially my little clever gag. I thought it was a clever gag about Andy Reid. It was.
I was too busy laughing as you dropping your paper.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you did. You went there, Martin. You did actually go there with Andy Reid. You should have seen the Conor. He actually he brought up Trapattoni on a guitar. He took it in good spirit.
He did take it in great spirit. Oh, he's absolutely brilliant, Andy Reid, and he really enjoys the night. He's a fantastic supporter of our club, and he's great fun. And to be honest as well, very passionate about Irish football. And it saddened me a little bit. He did speak about, that decision of Trapattoni to cut him off from 5 years of Irish football. It cost him 60 caps for Ireland. So
Yeah,
that's ridiculous, really.
lovely
What a
footballer.
talented player he was. Yeah.
Do you remember him, Conor? Was he a bit before your
Yeah.
time, Andy Reid?
I don't remember in his prime. Like I remember slow old Andy Reid. Not to be mean, but I remember Andy Reid when
Jesus.
he had slowed down in time.
Yeah, no, he had a one of a left foot. Actually reminded him when I spoke to him. Show you the picture there again, because Monica is Italian, our camera person, and I just said to him, "Oh, by the way, our camera person's she's Italian." And of course, she scored against Italy, didn't he? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Really? It was a lovely goal. Lovely. We were 2-0 down, and boom. It was just before, I think it was like before the game against France, wasn't it? We were fucking terrible. No, lovely fella. And when you go down about Trapattoni, he got it was like, where is he? Where is he? Joking. So fair play to him. No, good night. Honest to God, although the dropping the notes was pretty funny. Lovely speech, Martin. And it was brilliant. Loads of people there. So we will be sharing bits and pieces over the week, and we'll hopefully have a little thing on it together. And we've loads of photographs as well that we're going to share with the members of Risk London. So now it's brilliant stuff. Right, let's get on with our boys in green, lads. This is how our boys in green got on over the weekend. And then Conor, you're going to fill in the gaps with how they've gone on so far during the week. Of course, this has been recorded on the Tuesday, so we have missed a few things out. That is why. Right, are you ready? Are you ready, lads? But a bit of enthusiasm.
I thought you were asking the viewers.
Jesus Christ, it's like a fucking it's like a Sunday in Old Trafford here, minus the water. Jesus. Bit of
Anfield after you never walk alone.
It's actually quite emotional.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite emotional. I've been in the Cop, actually. I've been in the Cop.
Do you want a medal?
No. Got plenty. Right, let's get into it. Right, first up, Caoimhín Kelleher actually had a surprise start against Bournemouth. He kept a clean sheet in a 3-0 win. Unfortunately, Mark Travers was sitting on the other bench. He was an unused sub in that 3-0 loss. Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 2-1 win over Oxford for Bristol. And of course, poor Gavin Bazunu still out injured. Into the defenders. Right. Seamus Coleman still out injured for Everton. They are bottom of the table. Matt Doherty, an unused sub for Wolves. Get used to that. Dara O'Shea, 90 minutes, 1-1 draw with Southampton for Ipswich Town. I believe in the Premier League Team of the Week as well. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes and a 3-1 loss to Spurs for Brentford. Andrew Amabamadeli, not in the squad. Maybe Conor, later on, you can shed some light on that. Jacob Bryan, an unused sub again for Everton, who mentioned our joint bottom of the table. Liam Scales, not in the squad for Celtic in their game against Falkirk, 5-2 win. Robbie Brady, not in the squad for Preston North End either. Jesus. Callum O'Dowd at 80 minutes in a 2-0 loss against Leeds for Cardiff City. The manager has been sacked. They are bottom of the championship. Shane Duffy, 90 minutes in a 4-1 win over Watford for Norwich. Mark McGuinness, 90 minutes in a 2-1 win for over Sheffield Wednesday for Luton Town. Ryan Manning, not in the squad. Where is he? I think we're going to have to do what we did for Liam Scales. Try and find him. Festy Abasela, an unused sub for Watford over the weekend. And Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes and a 1-1 draw with Millwall for QPR. And John Egan, an unused sub for Burnley over the weekend. So, obviously, a little bit to unpack there. I think Liam Scales, lads, that was
rest. It
was rest, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I know Ryan Manning played for Southampton 21s, which is a sign that he's nowhere near the senior squad. I think that was just to give him games. And on the defenders that played tonight, Vesty played 75 minutes for Watford against City, and he actually done all right. Was impressed with him in the first half. Defensively looked decent. Got a nice light tackle on Grealish, which people would like. And obviously it's his first competitive minutes that he started since last season. So I'd say he's happy to get the minutes in the legs. I watched Watford at the weekend to see Rocco Vata, how he got on. I thought he actually started well, and then I think age, just the lack of legs at that age, caught up to him. But I thought Festy should have came on that game, but the wing back started, or the wing back that started for Watford ended up scoring that game. Even though I thought he played poorly, but when a player scores, a manager finds it hard to take them off. So I was impressed with Festi tonight. I think that's all. All the defenders that played tonight was Festi, I think. Yeah, that was it.
It's Festi.
Oh, also Franco Uma. Franco Uma played for Palace under-21s against Gillingham in the new Papa John's Trophy, the Bristol Street Motors, and got man of the match. Played left wing back. Very, very impressive, supposedly. So he's a very interesting talent, making the bench every week for Crystal Palace, and now impressing with the 21s when he plays for them.
There you go. I mean, this is why you tune into Lansdowne Roar, isn't it? The Ginger Stato right there. If you want to, that's your new nickname, the Ginger Stato, and it's complimentary, by the way, from a fellow former Ginge. Of course, if you want more information like that, head over to Rep Tracker Twitter account. That's what Conor runs. If you want to know everything that's going on in the current team and the future team, that is the place to go. So there you go. Martin, before we move on to midfielders, so your boy Callum McDowd got the manager fired. Hope you were happy.
Bogey team, isn't it? Leeds and Cardiff, they've always had a bit of a strange kind of rivalry there. And let's see now. Again, he's gone for quite a few managers now, Callum, and let's see what the next manager thinks of him and where he's going to play him.
He played on the wing the other day.
Yeah.
Joel Began, do you remember, was Ireland or 21 international, played left back, got sent off after 25 minutes. I seen it was he took Nanto down in the edge of the box, and then Nanto got back up and then was in a goal, and then he took him down again and got a red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. I thought it was a very, very harsh decision, but these are what refs are like in modern football.
Sounded like you deserved it, but right, we'll move on to the midfield. Will Smallbone, cousin Will, still out injured, I believe, for Southampton. Jason Malumbi also injured, but he should. Well, he is a bit of a doubt actually for this week. Jason Knight, 90 minutes of a 2-1 win for Oxford against Oxford for Bristol City. Alan Brown out injured, but should be back for Sunderland. Casey McAteer not in the squad for Leicester. That is worrying. Mark Sykes unused sub for Bristol City. And Mikey Johnson getting his way back into match fitness. 27 minutes in a 1-0 loss against Plymouth. Jamie McGrath, 90 minutes in a 4-0 win over the Spartans. Finn Azaz, 62 minutes in a 1-0 loss against Sunderland for Middlesbrough. Josh Cullen, 81 minutes in a 2-1 win against Portsmouth for Burnley. He's getting back to fitness. Andy Moran out injured, although I believe he should be back.
He was sick.
Sick. And Jack Taylor, 29 minutes, 1-1 draw with Southampton for Ipswich Town. Yeah, sorry, he was out with illness, wasn't he? Had the 2 Bob bits, probably. I'm just saying, that's the kind of thing that keep you out, man. So the midfield there, obviously Josh Cullen, Martin, your mate, coming back, slowly getting his way back to match fitness. I think he got like 20 minutes last week.
Yeah, and he'll be in the Ireland squad for the October games without a doubt, because we missed
First
him
team in the team
last
sheet, isn't it?
Yep. There you go, Dave.
But good to see Luca Connell score at the weekend. I don't know if you've seen his goal. Wonderful strike from a free kick. So he's putting a bit of pressure on Heimer to get him into the squad, I think. And it was good to see Jack Taylor actually get minutes for Southampton. Or Ipswich get 30 minutes at the weekend. Another midfielder. So that's 2 midfielders I'd look to bring in next camp. But I worry though with Jack Taylor. I seen Calvin Phillips wasn't involved the other day. That when Calvin Phillips comes back in, Jack Taylor will be back, not making the bench again. But it seemed that he did impress when he came on the other day, which is all he can really do.
Yeah, that's right. He's been out of the squad for a bit there, hasn't he? Who was the one I wanted to ask you about? Casey McAteer. That's an interesting one. He hasn't really nailed down a place, not even in the starting lineup, but in the squad. Do you know what's going on there, Conor? Or
I just think he's not good enough, to be honest, for that. The wingers they have, there's some very good wingers. McAteer, he's a good player, but he's like, I don't know. He's not gonna get much end. There's not much end product out of him, and he's more of a workhorse sort of winger. That he played 10 minutes tonight against Walsall in the League Cup. That's he's going. I don't want to, because he's still young, and he'll most definitely get a low move in January because he signed a new contract in the summer. Yeah. But I think he's well off being a Premier League footballer right now.
Wow.
I think we have a lot more talent on the wings.
I always make this point though about these players. Like it's so important. These kind of the League Cup, Johnson's Paint Cup, the FA Cup in January when it starts as well. The third round, of course. That it's so important for our players to, get game time then. And even now, it's important for the next squad. Like Casey McAteer, if he's gone from being in the Ireland squad against England and Greece, and now he's not even getting looking at club. Then he's coming back to it in his next football. We're expecting him to be at that optimum level. It's just kind of worrying times a little bit. For
like,
that.
do you pick him again?
So many players don't get in there, do they? Well, interesting as well seeing Finn Azaz back in there playing. I mean, we're not sure if they fancy him or not, but
they played him on the. Middlesbrough's been playing him on the left wing a lot recently, and I've seen a lot of their fans are thinking it's a bit like Sammy Smaddock's playing on the wing. The two players don't have the athleticism and the pace to play on the wing. They need to be playing in the middle of the pitch. So I think a lot of Middlesbrough fans are unhappy with the way Carrick's approaching it. They're saying just play Finn Azaz as the number 10 and that's it. But I think it's mad that he's not making the Ireland squad. He has to be in the next Ireland squad, in my opinion. He still is starting. He is starting. No matter what, Carrick is finding a way to fit him in the team every week. So Carrick clearly rates him highly enough.
Yeah.
So
I think in October, just on the squad there, I mean, I think this is a real, this is a very important squad, isn't it? And you might get a few surprises coming in October after the bit of the backlash in September. So hopefully they take a chance. And I don't think they've got anything to lose if they experiment and bring some fresh blood into the squad, someone like Azaz or Boston Lawal or even your boy, the Barnsley lad, Luke Connell.
I think Boston won't be fit enough. It's the problem. I don't think Boston will be fit by the squad, because if he doesn't play this weekend, the squad's out next Thursday. I think it's extremely unlikely that they'll bring a lad in that might play maybe 30 minutes next weekend, even if that's he's fit for.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, lads, we're going to move it on to the attackers. Or up front. There you go. Right, Adam Ida, 90 minutes, 2 goals in a 5-2 win over Falkirk for Celtic. Evan Ferguson, 8 minutes. He had 2 minutes last week in a 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest. Sammy Smaddock, 61 minutes only in a 1-1 draw with Southampton for Ipswich. Chiadozi Ogbeni, an unused sub. There you go, Martin. For Ipswich. Callum Robinson, yet again, not in the squad for Cardiff, but the manager's gone, so that might change. Troy Parrott, 76 minutes in a 2-1 win over FC Zwolle. Michael Obafemi, just 13 minutes in a 1-0 loss against West Brom. Tom Cannon, 92 minutes in a 3-1 loss against Hull for Stoke City. Will Keane, an unused sub for Preston. And Aaron Connolly, Sunderland. Well, actually, we'll be talking about him. Sinclair Armstrong, 65 minutes and a goal in a 2-1 win over Oxford. I think I've made a slight error there, lads. Did Plymouth win, or did they draw, or did he lose?
No, West Brom won.
They did, didn't they? I think I said an early one. Sorry, correction. I think I said an early one that Plymouth won against West Brom. So if I did, I do apologise. But there you go. It's Martin's fault. Sammy Smaddock, 61 minutes. I think last one he got about 59 minutes. So
he didn't play well the other day. He missed a couple of chances.
Yeah, like when you're taken off after 60 minutes, that's sort of like the polite hook.
But the problem is, though, as same with Finn Azaz, he's constantly getting drafted out into the left wing, and it's like, don't play him at all. Don't play him at all if you're playing him on the left wing. It's the same with Ireland, how frustrating it is. Like, I know you could say shoehorn him into the team, find a way, have to get him team somehow, but
Sammy Smaddock, it's been played on the left wing, is he?
Yeah, basically a left wing that comes in. It comes inside, but he is playing on the left. And I just find when you do that with a player who's not that sort of player, you're just shoehorning him in, and you obviously have way better options actually playing in that position. So I think Kieran McKenna probably will hopefully adjust that and stop playing him on the wing. I know he probably sees the thing as Smaddock's movement's very good, that he can always pop up somewhere and grab you a goal, but it's, I think, for the overall, like the style of play you want to play and the ball retention, you shouldn't be playing him on the left wing.
I always said that about Sammy Smaddock, Martin. You want him doing the stuff inside the box, don't you? You don't want him out in the wing doing the stuff, because he's very tricky, isn't he? He cuts inside. He's always, he makes stuff happen. You want him doing that in and around the 18-yard box, or or just outside the 6-yard box.
He takes a lot of risks.
Yeah. Do you think though that he's like, because the club he's gone to, you know, he's not really going to be given that freedom where you know, a draw for them is a good result, isn't it? So maybe it's actually going to inhibit him that move. We want to see him in the Premier League, but you obviously want to see him going to a club that's like kind of mid-table upwards. But I don't think that's his standard. Like, with all due respect.
No, it's early days though with him, and you know, I think McKenna will figure out where to get the best out of him and get the team playing around him where they're going to get the best as well. So yeah, early days. I wouldn't lose hope with that, and you know, also just probably getting them up to a different speed of football now. You know, going up, the championships is like, you know, cutthroat and it's hustle and bustle and stuff, but you know, you've got to be a bit more technical, I think, in the Premier League.
It's
even
interesting
though
though.
Pace is fast, but
at last year Blackburn, they actually, in terms of possession wise, like I know Ipswich dominated possession last year, but obviously they have a lot less this year. That's what Blackburn were like last year. So in terms of how the team are playing, in terms of trying to hit on the break, him making runs in behind, he actually isn't playing in too different of a system of sort. It's just he's playing in a different position completely to what he was at Ipswich, obviously, or at Blackburn. Obviously, there's better players around him now at Ipswich. So it's kind of a thing of, I'd say it's just early for Kieran McKenna trying to fit in what is his best 11. Where do we, if Sammy Maddox is in that best 11, where do you play him? Like, Ogbene didn't play at all at the weekend, but Ogbene, I think, just has a struggle to start the season, even when he was at Luton. So I think Ogbene will come good again. We've seen last year how good he was in the Premier League in certain games, so I'm not too worried about that. But it was good to see the likes of Sinclair Armstrong score. I watched that game. Bristol and Oxford were both very poor in the first half. But then Sinclair, you could see he had that little bit of extra movement, that little bit of hunger to score, and then Jason Knight set him up nicely, and he finished well.
There you go. Right, we're going to move it on to
actually some other good news if you want for the show.
Go on.
The name that's always been brought up in Irish football the last couple of years, Kevin Zeffy. I've always asked, is he switching to Albania? He doesn't want to switch to Albania. That's a second option as such for him. He played 30 minutes the weekend for Roma under 20s with their Primavera team, which is his most minutes he's played since January at injury. And on Monday he trained with the first team, which is a positive step in the next direction, that he got called up to train with the first team. So obviously it looked like he was trying to leave in the summer, but I think until January anyway, he's going to try push towards the first team, which is a good start training with them.
There you go. Right. Bit of positive news for a change. We're going to move it on, lads, to Aaron Connolly. Well, it looks like he has been given a cracking lifeline here. You broke the story. Well, that's where I first saw it anyway. Aaron Connolly is signing for Sunderland, says rep of Ireland Player Tracker. Aaron, of course. Not Aaron. Conor. Jesus. Connolly's a free agent after leaving Hull in the summer and has now got the chance to show how talented he is. Yeah, sorry, bit of a typo there, Conor.
Oh, was a typo. My bad.
Fuck it, hell. Martin, get Sky Sports up here somewhere reputable. Well, anyway, Conor, in his own little way, I suppose, has broken.
I didn't even notice that there. Now you should have told me before.
Sakes. Even Eileen's kicking off my three-legged rabbit. That is actually her name. Yes. So anyway, so he has signed. I wasn't too sure beforehand, but you guys told me, because my head's been up my arse the last couple of days. But he has actually signed for Sunderland. Any more details on that, Conor? Like the contract or anything like that?
Just it's a 1-year contract to the end of the season, is all we know. So he really has to show between now and the end of the season that he still has got it. Well, obviously he has. We've seen with Connolly even at Hull, especially his first 6 months of the club, he was unreal. I remember watching so many games and thinking, this lad has so much class about him. It's just such a pity that whatever way injuries and his own mentality has held him back to this stage. But I'd like to think after leaving Hull in the summer, getting released, he has had a kick up the backside, and this is what he needs to, because Sunderland don't have much depth in the striking position, so he obviously won't start coming in straight away anyway. But he definitely will get minutes, and he will, hopefully, if he starts scoring goals off the bench, he'll break into the first team.
Why though has it taken so long for him? Because we're now coming to the end of September, so we're very close to, transfer window's gone. Obviously, it's a free transfer, so you can get him. Why is it taking so long for somebody to take a chance on Aaron Connolly?
Do you just think he's been waiting for the right move? Do you think he's went the smart way about it? Like I 100%. I've seen online he had an offer from Sparta Prague to sign for Sparta Prague, but I seen he wanted to stay in England. So, and like I seen he was still in Hull a bit of time. Maybe he was training with Hull still at the start of the season, but maybe he was getting offers from lower league, not lower league, lower of the championship standings, and like he's gone to Sunderland now, top of the table still, aren't they? And no, West Brom are actually, but they're like at the top of the table,
Yeah.
and they're fighting for promotion. Like I think maybe he's done the right thing and holding off, waiting for the right move.
Or
Like look at Obafemi, he's gone on loan to Plymouth. What would you rather have done? Connolly went to Plymouth and signed a year contract there, or held off for an extra month and has gone to Sunderland?
my opinion is that I just think his reputation's got before him a little bit. Obviously he had the fallout down at Brighton. He burst onto the scene a little bit. The brace against Tottenham 5 years ago, I think it is now. And everyone thought he was going to go on to bigger, massive things. Seemed to go to his head a little bit. And then he sort of went out on loan. He ended up out in Italy playing Serie B. And then, he had the loan spell at Middlesbrough, which didn't really do too well. And then, looked like he found his feet a little bit of Hull. And obviously Ross Senior. Now, Hull is a bit of a basket case. Rossinier, as you said, off air, like had him playing some decent stuff at the beginning, but he fell out with Rossinier again. And then obviously the Turkish owner there, Hull sort of fired Rossinier and then released Aaron Connolly because he was only on a year contract anyway. And he seems to only be getting these like yearly contracts. So in my opinion, I think his reputation's gone ahead of him here a little bit because, I listen to a lot of podcasts. One, actually, I'm listening to a lot of the moment, Martin, one you recommended, Under the Cosh. And, managers talk to each other. They go, look, you had your man there. What's the story with him? He's a decent lad, but, he's a bit of trouble. Like, if you can manage him, you can unlock that potential. Every manager, I think most managers think that they can unlock that potential when you look at problem players. Keith Tracy, Martin. I'm not trying to compare Aaron Connolly to Keith Tracy, by the way. But I was listening to the Keith Tracy one, and Keith Tracy had a lot of potential, but he had a lot of demons. Now, I don't know if Aaron Connolly has any demons. He hasn't come out about it. Maybe he will. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just, he's not interested. But every manager seems to think that, I can get a bit out of you. But do you reckon with someone like Aaron Connolly now, he's 24, time's running out, and he can't really, he hasn't really done it. He's only shown glimpses of his talent, hasn't he? Like, this is the last chance saloon for him, Martin, isn't it?
I wouldn't say last chance because I just think there's so many players like this in professional football. He is a strange kind of character, as it were. Offered so much kind of hope for us in a sense. Like I think of like he defined margins. He missed a chance when we nearly in one of these games, didn't he? When he went through on a 1-on-1 and missed it. I can't remember even who it was against, but
Georgia.
Georgia, yeah, and. You're just thinking, like, he was in there, and then there's just a lot of baggage with him. Like even when he pulled out the squad and was on a photo of him on the beach and stuff. But that's modern footballers, isn't it? The FAI didn't want to release that at the time. Then it got released, and it was all a bit silly what's going on. I think they just had a lot of frustration. The FAI have with how he kind of has behaved, and I think, but he's had a lot of trust and faith put back in him then, which he hasn't really rewarded. Same at club level. You've seen like Instagram posts, I think what it was, of him in a nightclub or whatever, and women talking about him or whatever it was. He's a professional footballer, but he's not been acting professionally as far as we know. I think fair play to him for getting this move because he has held out. When I was listening to your points there, I was thinking, John Egan's been, was training with, and having a trial with West Ham, and he's obviously being patient. I mean, Aaron Connolly will have had enough money out of football to be quite secure, I would think, already as a relatively young man, like 24.
It's mad, isn't it?
But and that is probably one of the problems with it. Has he got the hunger to kind of want to get back in the Ireland squad and perform and things like that? I think that's a key factor. Another factor, I think, why he wants to stay in England is you just don't know what's going on in a lot of these lads' backgrounds and life off the pitch. Are they?
That's why I brought the Keith Tracy.
Yeah, we don't know. We know those things now, and so we do have a bit of sympathy for that, of course. But I'd like him just to do well there. be given a chance. I mean, look, he's convinced Sunderland to give him a go. I
It's
would
a
say it
massive
would be
club.
A huge club.
massive club. But I think what he will surely be on is like a kind of performance related contract, if anything, because that's the way these clubs work now. You know, if I can have you in there and you'll perform for me, you'll get the reward. That's what it's got to be with a type of player like Aaron Connolly is now. You're not guaranteed getting it out of him. So how do you do that for the benefit of the club? I hope he does well. I've spoken about him in the past, Dave. When I've been around the team hotel and stuff, I found him like just my perception has been he's a bit aloof, and you know he's got the big jacket on, and he just seems, you know, is he like too cool for school or whatever? Like he's not really mixing with everybody, and but you know, talented player, but he's just one that I don't think we're going to be able to rely on.
I think as well though, lads, is that he's been given like a 1-year contract. And he's only been given a 1-year contract in the last place he was in. I think that says a lot. That's why I don't think, I know you were saying like he held out. Maybe he has held out a little bit. He had a couple of offers. But I think the fact that they're only willing to give him a 1-year contract, I think that just speaks volumes. That a lot of the managers like, yeah, he's got talent, but he's got baggage. And it's like, yeah, we'll see how it goes on. Like, you know.
Because I think people don't realize actually how talented Aaron Connolly actually is. Aaron Connolly himself knows how good he is. That's part of the problem. But some fans, and I think only coaches themselves really know, because Liam Senior supposedly absolutely loved him talent-wise. And talent-wise, Aaron Connolly should be playing in the Premier League. Like, we've seen what he done at such a young age playing for Brighton. Like, that wasn't a fluke that he broke onto the scene like that and scored goals, like some lovely goals in the Premier League. It's sad to see the way it's gone the last couple of years, because he has so much talent, and I think part of the problem is he knows how talented he is, and probably expected, you know, the type of person that done so well in underage football and just expect to carry straight over for the senior football without putting the same work out.
It's about work though, but like you got to put the work in. I mean, Stephen Kenny, I remember when he was the under-21s manager, and they were going, "Oh, when are you going to get let Troy Parrott?" Goes, "Well, actually, no. I'd say Aaron Connolly's the next one. He's ready." I remember that at the time, and Connolly came in to the squad, as Martin, you mentioned, the Georgia game in Tbilisi that time. I was behind. I wasn't in the media at that stage. I would be for the next one. And yeah, and you know, he burst on. Okay, I wouldn't hold that against him. He hit the side net. He should have done better, but you thought, okay. And he just hasn't put the work in, and it's just not acceptable. And he's 24 now, and you'd be expecting him to, like this, you know, between 24 and like 20. Well, it used to be 24, 27. Like you had that your real tip of your powers. Now, obviously, football's changed a little bit, so you could be at that peak until you're like 31, 32 now because of conditioning and sports science. Although he's lost so many years, like he has shortened his career so much just from poor lifestyle choices, and you don't get a lot of that back. You don't get any of that back actually, and that's what I worry. So whatever potential he had, he's never gonna reach that potential. No matter what he does now.
The only thing I'd say is, sorry to jump in, Sammy Smollett, I think, is a good example of who he could be. Like, if he's gonna put the work in, he could be easily a way better player than Sammy Smollett is. I don't want to set him because Sammy Smollett's top goal scorer in the championship, but in terms of overall player, Sammy Smollett, I seen he done an interview during the summer on a podcast saying that his lifestyle choices weren't that good until a couple of years ago, and it took him a good few years to mature in that sense. And sure, he's been a late bloomer, came into the Ireland squad very late. Aaron Connolly, I know he's 24 now, and once you start hitting 25, that's when you start thinking you're not a young player anymore. You have to start performing. So I didn't want to say much, but I just want to say that that's the sort of player I think if he's going to reach, he will be a late bloomer, but it's up to him at the end. Hopefully it starts. I hope this last year has really clicked with him that his mentality has to be as a professional athlete if he wants to reach anywhere near his potential.
100%.
Because there was a bit of talk, like, you know, he was going to go to the League of Ireland, and I was thinking if he goes there, and I'm not being disrespectful to the League of Ireland, of course, but you know, I was thinking that's a massive backroom step, you know, backward step that is, you know, like he's better than that. He's like, you know, and he's proven that he is. He's in the Championship, you know. And I also think though, you know, are we guilty of overhyping these players or having too much hype about them? You know, our expectations of him is probably there as well. Like, you know,
but that's just football fans. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, but like I know that even I've seen, you know, we've had a bit of questioning of Evan Ferguson's attitude by the Brighton manager at the moment, and he's missed out on a bit of time with his injury. Obviously, I think he's been a bit fast tracked in there, certainly by Ireland. And I think we do need to kind of give these players a chance, of course. And like you said there, like Conor, I think my main point would be, we're just guilty of overhyping these lads. They come into a squad, they do well in one camp, and we're thinking, and it cements their place in it for kind of ever, in a sense. Callum Robinson's guilty of that. He's just not consistent enough. And that even goes back to, and I'm going to show my age now with this, but like, I remember meeting Simon Cox after scoring for Ireland just before we went to the Euros in 2012. And he scored, and he was just buzzing because he said, well, I'm on the plane now. I'm on the plane. And it was just the fact that he scored. He was feeling that. So, we are guilty of rewarding and overhyping some of these players who, don't actually do it long term. And
that's because we're desperate.
That's another player. Well, it is. Yeah, no, I get that. But I do think, we need to sometimes take a bit. I think sometimes the players can't let it get to their heads. I think Callum Robinson is one of the most frustrating players for me. He's just so inconsistent, and he's proved that all his club career as well. He's an honest pro. He's a decent lad. I don't think he's like wrecking the change rooms when he's not being picked. He's just quite happy muddling along. And
it seems a great
I want to have someone with a bit more ambition to go, no, I'm your main man. You're starting me every week. You don't rest me. I'll score goals for you. I don't know.
I think it goes back to the Robbie Keane thing, doesn't it? Like, he was 19? No, he was 18, wasn't he, when he burst onto the scene? And we were crying out for centre forward because Niall Quinn was knocking on. Cascarino was like 38 at the time. Aldrich had retired 2 years previously as well after the Iceland game. To be fair, Robbie rose to it. He absolutely rose to the occasion. He scored a couple of goals and missed a ton of goals. He had a bit of a struggle, and then he sort of just clicked at him international level. And he was a goal machine then, wasn't he? When he sort of, ironically, during the World Cup, really, he just really clicked into him. He was banging goals in for fun.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
He was for Ireland. And I think we kind of just look at that. Oh, is he going to be the next Robbie Keane? Because, like Evan Ferguson. To be fair, I do think they are actually. Obviously, we had to see. This is the problem we've had because the previous regime before Stephen Kenny, O'Neill, Martin O'Neill was guilty of it, where he wasn't capping players until we're like 28, 27, 28, 29, which is ridiculous. You cannot do that at international level. You have to keep that constant stream coming in, where then when Kenny came around, he was fast tracking a lot of the younger lads, and he sort of decimated the Jim Crawford's under 21 squad.
He had to do it. He had to do it at the time. It had to be done.
He did have to do it, to be fair. Although what I thought he did with Andy Moran was ridiculous, to be fair, with the Dutch game. Anyway, but I think now what they're trying to do is what you said there, man. Conor, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think they are trying to now hold back, like Andy Moran. Like some of these under 21 lads.
I don't think it's like that at all, to be honest. No. I just think it's, if you weren't a place in the squad, you'll be picked. If Andy Moran was, like, no everyone knows how highly I rate Andy Moran. I rate him as high as any Irish player, and I just think that it's just not his time yet to be a senior international playing every game. And I just think that's the reason why he's not in the squad at the moment. If he was ready to come in and make an impact straight away, he'd be there. It'd be like Ferguson. If Ferguson wasn't ready, he'd be in the 21s, but Ferguson is ready, and he's like, I think some of the stuff said about him at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. If you don't realize, if you don't have your two eyes don't work, if you don't think Evan Ferguson is isn't one of the best young strikers in the world. Like, I don't know who's seen him play last week in the cup, that first half, the little things he was doing, just his football brain, his little flicks. I know he hasn't scored in a while, but he's been injured. And like, this thing about attitude, there's nothing wrong with his attitude at all. He's has the right people around him.
Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry,
come in with a quick question for you, right? So, Sinclair Armstrong, if he scores 5 goals in the next 10 games, and Aaron Connolly comes in and scores 5 goals in the next 10 games and starts off really well for Sunderland, who would you have in the senior squad come in there if there was any place for any one of them?
I don't know. Well, I think no one's more biased to Sinclair Armstrong than me at the moment. But I think I'd have to have Sinclair in there. Just what Sinclair offers is just so. I know he has his technical faults that he has to work on still. But what he is the most like unique sort of talent in a sense, you know, like that sort of outlet of a player that is so strong, so fast that no matter who you're playing against, defenders don't want to defend against him. So I think, especially against big opponents, that what he offers anyway, what he could offer right now, and then if he started adding the goals in his game as well, which he started well at Bristol, and the big thing with him at Bristol now, it seems that he is that main man at QPR. There was games he would score, I remember he scored against Leicester, the winner against Leicester, and then was put on the bench the next game, didn't even play a minute. So I think the big thing is that he's been given the role as the main man, the main striker. He has the pressure been put on him that you have to score us the goals to get us where we want to be. But yeah, I know what you mean, Prendy, in terms of who would you pick, but I think it's more who's on form. Eye test as well, like against the opponents, people just seem to think pick whoever's in form, but sometimes it is who you're playing against. Maybe if we're playing Finland at home, and say we have Finland at home and we have Faroe Islands at home in 2 games next March, maybe Aaron Connolly's the better striker for that game because they're a low block and you want someone a bit more technical. But if we have France away and then we have maybe Greece at home, maybe it's better to have Sinclair in there. I think it just is a case-by-case scenario.
Yeah. Right, lads, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching at home or listening at home, wherever you are ingesting your Lansdowne Roar. There's a new way of putting it. Ingesting your Lansdowne Roar. We will be back some point during the week. We're not too sure. Keep it on the old social media for that, but we will have a show when the squad is announced next Thursday. And yet again, closer to that particular announcement, we will announce when we're going to do that show, whether it's going to be live, recorded, we're not too sure, but just keep an eye on the social medias. And I know you're all sitting at home going, how do I keep an eye on social medias? Very simple. See this QR code down the bottom right, scan that with your phone, head over to a Facebook or Instagram and our Twitter account. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, please, the YouTube channel. We are trying to grow that, and do like the video. Does help. And if you want an opinion, obviously head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie. Right, I'm David Dunn, he's Martin Prendergast, that's Conor McAvoy. We're out of here. Good night.